Hello and welcome to 90 Plus 1 Facts, the place where I shout nearly a centenary of football facts at you whilst you eat your dinner. This week, our metaphorical plane of fact-finding has landed in Madrid, the home of lovely things such as tapas, Penelope Cruz and the sun. 1. The famous Real Madrid were officially founded in 1902, 3 years after arch-rivals Barcelona. 2. Julian Palacios, a man who is unfortunately not remotely related to Big Wilson Palacios, is widely regarded as Real Madrid's first club president. It was the year 1900 and he called a meeting to decide what players would form Real Madrid's first football team, called Club Español de Madrid, which literally translates to English as Spanish Club Madrid. It sounds a lot better in Spanish, doesn't it? 3. In 1902 there was a split in the club, and Palacios helped form a new club called Sociedad Madrid FC, which later became the expensive shiny beacon we know and love today, Real Madrid. 4. Whisper it quietly, but the next 2 club presidents were the Padros brothers, 2 businessmen who hailed from Catalonia, the region of Spain fiercely loyal to Barcelona. 5. It didn't take long for Sociedad Madrid FC to start filling their trophy cabinet quicker than I can say Hala Madrid. Oh, they filled it with 4 Copa del Reys in 3 years, from 1905 to 1908. 6. In case you were wondering, the Real in Real Madrid isn't there to tell you that they definitely exist. It actually means royal and was bestowed upon them by King Alfonso XIII in 1920, the descendant of 12 other Alfonsos who couldn't think of a better name. 7. 11 years later, little old King Alfonso XIII scarpered to Italy amid a Republican uprising, and all things referring to the monarchy were taken away. This meant newly named Real Madrid were no longer Real? No, not like that. They did still exist, they were just now called Madrid Football Club. 8. To make matters worse, 2 years prior in 1929, Real Madrid led the first ever La Liga season until the final day, where they let the title slip to Barcelona of all people, with a 1-0 loss against Athletic Bilbao. 9. We return to crownless Madrid, and to get over being told they're not real, they went on to win the league back-to-back in 1931 and 1932. 10. To make it even sweeter, Madrid's win in 1931 was unbeaten, pipping those bastards Athletic Bilbao to the title by just 3 points. 11. Boys, guess who's got their crown back? It's now 1941. General Franco has run down the right wing. That's a political joke. Franco wasn't a footballer. He was a very, very naughty boy. And reinstated the crown and made Madrid real again. 12. My nickname is Clownboy on account of my strangely large feet. But Real Madrid have 3 nicknames. Los Blancos, which means the whites. Los Merengues, which means the merengues. Not because Madrid are tasty, but because their kit is all white. And Los Vikingos, on account that they used to wear full Viking armour in their pre-match warm-up. Okay, that was a lie, but it was much cooler than saying the name came from a Times article, wasn't it? 13. It's record time, and unfortunately, it's not as weird as a man with a record for the longest fingernails, but it's just as shocking, and thankfully, less vile. Madrid have won the most La Liga titles with a cracking 33. That's almost as many times as I've kicked a football with my standing foot. 14. Real Madrid are the first club in the history of the rebranded Champions League to win back-to-back Champions League titles. 15. Before the rebrand, Madrid's ability to dominate Europe showed when they won 5 consecutive European Cups between 1956 and 1960. 16. If you hadn't noticed already, Madrid have had more success than Ireland's Eurovision entries, winning a whopping 12 Champions League titles, the most out of every club ever. 17. The previous fact is probably helped by the fact they've qualified for a record 7 consecutive Champions League semi-finals from 2010 to 2017. 18. Los Blancos hold a record number of consecutive participations in the Champions League too, with 20 from the 1997-98 season up to 2016-2017, and they don't look like stopping anytime soon. 19. They also won the first ever European Cup, beating Stade Reims in 1956. A quick look to Stade Reims' European achievements after is a bit savage in comparison to Madrid's. 20. Real Madrid are the second most successful club in Spain, with an incredible 85 major honours. 21. Los Merengues are also the only club to have won La Liga 5 times in a row, twice, from 1960 to 1965 and from 1985 to 1990. 22. Real have also won the Copa del Rey, no relation to Lana, 19 times, but they had a long wait between 1993 and 2011 where they couldn't get their grubby little mitts on it. 23. After their 18-year wait to win the cup again, the same amount of time you could be born, be allowed to drink, and then regret drinking, Sergio Ramos dropped the Copa del Rey from the top of their bus and it was run over, smashing into 10 different pieces. 24. A study from Harvard University estimated that 37.9% of Spain's population are Real Madrid fans, which is an incredible amount of glory hunters all in one place. 25. Time to bring those big heads down to earth for a couple of facts, starting off with Madrid's most embarrassing defeat. A painful 8-1 loss to Espanyol in their first ever La Liga season. 26. Time for a backhanded compliment. Madrid have won the double 6 times, but they just cannot win the treble, unlike their Catalan counterparts who achieved the feat in the 2008-09 season. 27. Los Blancos' lowest ever finish was 11th in 1947 to 1948, which is insane. How can a team never finish lower than that in nearly 100 years? I just don't... Oh, that probably helps. 28. What also might have helped for a few years was the fact that they couldn't finish lower than 11th, because La Liga was founded with just 10 teams. Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao, Real Sociedad, Arenas Club de Getxo, Real Union, Atletico Madrid, Espanyol, Europa, and Racing de Santander. 29. I shouldn't need to tell you, but out of the founding teams, only Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Athletic Bilbao have never ever been relegated. 30. Who's made the most appearances for Real Madrid and rhymes with Jarul? That's right, it's Raul. The Madrileño himself, Raul González Blanco, has made the most appearances for Los Blancos with 741, scoring 323 goals. 31. The award for most league goals in the La Liga season goes to Madrid's 2011-12 squad with a mouth-watering 121 goals. 32. Everyone loves being at home, the sweet smell of food that your mum has made you, the beautiful Netflix subscription, but Madrid love being at home too, scoring the most home goals in the season with 78 in 1989 to 1990. 33. Stretching my painful Netflix analogy unnecessarily further, Madrid also like to refuse people coming round and picking what they're going to watch, as epitomised between 1957 and 1965, where they went 121 games without losing at home. Mental. 34. The Whites sometimes like living home too and ruining other people's poor backyards with their records. They scored the most away goals in the season with 58 in 2016 to 2017. 35. In the 2016-17 season, Real Madrid strode to the La Liga title, helped by scoring in every single game of the season for the first time in their history. The bold man clearly knows his stuff. 36. One record Zidane couldn't top was in defence, where the fewest goals they've ever conceded was a measly 15 in 1931 to 32. Who needs to defend when you're just going to score 121 goals anyway, eh? 37. Here's a clue to this fact. What can you see on the screen now? That's right, 9 Ballon d'Or winners have been produced from Real Madrid. Barcelona top it with 11. 38. The original Ronaldo, the one everyone loved, not the one that loved himself, scored Real Madrid's fastest goal in just 14 seconds against Atletico Madrid. Only former Barcelona man Keita has scored quicker in La Liga within 7.6 seconds. 39. Moving on to the current Ronaldo, he has eclipsed Madrid's previous top scorer Raul by scoring 406 goals in just 394 games. That's 1.03 goals a game as of the end of the 16-17 season. That's beyond superhuman. He may be self-obsessed, but when you can score that amount of goals, I don't care if you tattoo your own face on your own face. Fair play, man. 40. What's helped the shiny-faced man himself has been the amount of penalties Real have been given during La Liga, which is the most of any Spanish club. 487 whopping spot kicks. 41. Moving on from beautiful blokes to beautiful buildings, Madrid's Santiago Bernabéu Stadium hasn't always been their home, with their first official stadium being the Campo de O'Donnell in 1912, which could only hold 5,000 spectators. 42. After 11 years, they moved to the 8,000-strong Campo de Ciudad Lineal for a year before switching again to a whopping 22,500 capacity at the Estadio Chamartín in 1923. 43. Time passed, money rolled in, success came, and with that, President Santiago Bernabeu decided they needed a new home and built a new 75,000-seat stadium in 1944. It became the namesake of the president in 1955 when it was expanded to an incredible 120,000 spectators. 44. FIFA then insisted on teams having 2/3 of seated areas covered. Nice of them to think of the fans for once, cheers. Which caused Madrid's White Army to fall to a paltry 98,000. 45. Bored of stadium facts? I am, but I needed to find 91 facts for this, so sit down on your covered seating that FIFA just gave you and keep listening. In 1994, the Bernabeu was renovated to include 110,000 spectators. They chop and change more than me trying to decide what chocolate to have in my meal deal. Crunchy or Kit Kat? Maybe some fruit. Scrap that, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I'll have a boost bar with a hint of heightened cholesterol, please. 46. In 1998, Madrid were forced to adopt an all-seater stadium due to UEFA rules, which this time brought their attendance down to 75,328. There's only one more stadium fact to go, I promise. I'm so sorry. 47. In 2006, club president Perez expanded the east side of the stadium, increasing capacity to 80,354. In 2017, according to the website, the stadium now holds 81,044 little Los Blancos bottoms. There we have it, our last sitting down related fact of the day. 48. We've left the seats, but we're still at the Bernabeu, where Sabina Barringa scored the first ever goal there back in 1947 in a 3-1 victory over Portuguese side Os Belenenses, which is a really difficult word to say, but a really satisfying word to look at. Belenenses. 49. Santiago Bernabeu, no, not that one, I mean the man, Senor Bernabeu, is one of the most important figures in Madrid's history. Bernabeu joined Madrid when he was just 14, eventually making 51 appearances for the side and bagging 46 goals. 50. Once he retired in 1927, he became director of football at Madrid for 6 years, then assistant manager for 3 years, then the actual manager for 5 years, then president for 35 years. Now the stadium bears his name. You just can't keep him away. 51. Speaking of legends, Hungarian international Ferenc Puskás, after which the Puskás Award is named, was struggling to sign for a club due to concerns about his age of 31. Real Madrid opted to snap up the pensioner, and he rewarded them by scoring 4 hat-tricks in his first season and then going on to score 156 goals in just 180 games. 52. Puskás is also the oldest player to ever play for Real Madrid. After playing in white for 7 years, he opted to retire after his final match at the grand old age of 38 years, 7 months and 157 days. 53. What were you doing at the age of 16? Were you at school? Were you spending your evening drinking 3 litres of cider in the park? Whatever it wasn't as good as Martin Odegaard's year. Odegaard became the youngest ever player for Real Madrid at the age of just 16 years and 157 days old. 54. Transfers are great, in particular those ones you put on your arm and tear off half your hair an hour later, but I'm actually on about player transfers, where Real Madrid have broken the world record transfer fee 5 times, with Luis Figo, Kaká, Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale. 55. Madrid's biggest transfer fee for senior player is £59.7 million for Angel Di Maria to Manchester United. How'd that one work out, Ed Woodward, eh? You weird chinless man. 56. No surprise who Madrid's biggest buy is Gareth Bale and his painful haircut for €100 million, above the €94 million they paid for Cristiano Ronaldo. 57. Spending a crap ton on a player is a theme for Real Madrid. When current president Florentino Perez was first elected, he decided to enact the famous Galacticos policy. Perez would sign one huge player each summer. His signings included Luis Figo, David Beckham, and the perfectly plump version of Ronaldo. 58. After a 3-year period off doing other things, Perez was re-elected in 2009 and continued his policy by signing Cristiano Ronaldo, Kaká, Karim Benzema and Xabi Alonso. Perez has just been re-elected again, so the Galactico train should keep on chugging along. 59. With all this money being thrown about, you'd be forgiven for thinking Real Madrid must have the highest wage bill, but alas, they're only 4th on the list, with 250 million. That's behind Chelsea, Manchester United and Barcelona. 60. Forbes estimated Real Madrid are the most valuable team in club football, worth an incredible $3.65 billion. That could buy you 3.65 billion cheeseburgers from McDonald's, or, as I'd prefer, 350 pita crackers at 10 million a pop. 61. You can't have a yin without a yang, good without evil, a sandwich without the other slice of bread. What I'm trying to get at here is El Clasico, the contest between Madrid and Barcelona, whips up some pretty tasty stats, but unfortunately none of them are sandwich related. In the first ever El Clasico in 1902, Real lost 3-1 to their Catalonia counterparts, with their future manager, Englishman Arthur Johnson, scoring their only goal of the game. More on him later. 62. Madrid have bragging rights over Barcelona for the biggest ever derby win, winning 11-1 in the second leg of a Copa del Rey semi-final in 1943. 63. After being 8-0 down at half-time, Barcelona were angry with the rough tactics by Madrid and a concerningly hostile atmosphere by the Madrid crowd. They seriously considered giving up after just 45 minutes and going home. However, allegedly, the Director of State Security for Spain at the time, which is always a particularly threatening position under a dictatorship, came to the Barcelona dressing room and politely reminded them how kind it was that the Republic allowed Catalonia to remain part of the Spanish Republic. I'm not saying it was a threat, but it was almost definitely a threat. 64. That tactic clearly didn't work forever, as Real Madrid have won 97 of the matches and Barcelona have won 110. However, if you discount friendly matches, Real Madrid are actually ahead on 93 wins to Barcelona's 91. 65. The swinging 60s sounded like great fun. Just look at those clothes. The 60s also sounded great fun for Real, as they won all El Clásicos from 1962 to 1965. 66. In total, there have been 17 players who have gone direct from Barcelona to Madrid, whereas only 9 have travelled in the opposite direction. My mum has been to both, and she said Madrid is much nicer, so I'll take her word for it. 67. We now return to the world's worst photo ever taken. And after playing for Madrid, Arthur Johnson became their first ever manager and held that position for an impressive 10 years. 68. Englishman Johnson was also the man who introduced Real Madrid's famous all-white kit, made to mimic London-based amateur side Corinthians. 69. Including Johnson, Real Madrid have had 48 different managers throughout their history, with 11 of them being appointed at least twice. 70. Madrid's most successful manager was Miguel Munoz, who won 9 La Ligas, 2 Copa del Reys, 2 Champions Leagues, and 1 Intercontinental Cup. Munoz is also the longest-serving manager in one stint, spending 14 years there from 1960 to 1974. 71. The least successful manager in terms of win percentage is a Mr. Jose Llorente, winning 38.89% of his 18 games in charge back in the 1929-30 season. 72. Jose Llorente was also the first player ever to play for both Real Madrid and Barcelona. 73. The most successful manager in terms of win percentage is the art attack head himself, Mr. Manuel Pellegrini. The Chilean won 75% of his matches, but somehow didn't end up with any silverware and was sacked at the end of the season. Brutal from Perez. Absolutely brutal. 74. Real Madrid's highest points tally in one season was 96 points, managed by that man Pellegrini. Just how on earth did he get sacked? 75. The shortest serving manager of all time for Los Blancos is current Gabon boss Jose Antonio Camacho. Camacho won 19 trophies as a player for Real Madrid, but the Spaniard did not fare well when appointed manager, resigning after just 22 days in charge back in 1988, after a disagreement with the club's hierarchy. He returned in 2004 for another go, but only lasted 93 days more than before. 76. Between 1961 and 1980, Real Madrid won 14 titles in just 20 seasons. 77. Real Madrid are determined to beat absolutely anyone put in front of them. So much so, they once beat their own B team 6-1 to win the 1980 Copa del Rey. 78. Striker Emilio Butragueño holds a La Liga record of not losing for 50 consecutive matches. The only thing I haven't lost at consecutively for 50 matches is on FIFA against my little brother. He's 12. 79. Madrid were voted FIFA Club of the 20th Century by subscribers of FIFA's official magazine, which is somewhat depressing because unless I live until 105, I won't find out who will win the next one. 80. Continuing with the magazine theme, Real Madrid's players have been the recipients of Masters Pichichi Award a record 27 times since its inception, with club legend Alfredo Di Stefano picking up 5 himself. 81. Di Stefano was also the first player to win the Pichichi Award 4 times in a row, from 1956 to 1959. 82. The Argentine turned Colombian turned Spaniard, yes he played for them all, has the record of scoring in 5 consecutive European Cup finals, spanning from 1955 to 1960. 83. Real Madrid's first contribution to the Spanish national team was Juan Monjardin, all the way back in 1922. 84. Cristiano Ronaldo scored Madrid's fastest ever hat-trick, a 10-minute demolition of Sevilla in a 6-2 win in 2011. 85. This probably isn't the biggest surprise, but Real Madrid's current manager, Zinedine Zidane, played 225 games for Los Blancos and scored 49 goals. 86. Back in 2010, Zidane was appointed special advisor to the first team at the request of then manager Jose Mourinho. Zidane was then fast-tracked to management by becoming sporting director in 2011, then 2 years later he became assistant coach to Carlo Ancelotti. 87. Zidane's first managerial post came as coach of Real Madrid's B team Castilla in 2014. He managed a win percentage of 45.61% after 2 seasons. In January 2016, Rafa Benitez was sacked and Zidane promoted to the first team manager the very same day. 88. In Zizou's first season and a half, he managed to guide his team to the La Liga title, 2 Champions Leagues, the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup. Not bad for your first proper job. 89. Back to transfers, and Madrid's transfers don't always go too well, especially in the case of £13.4 million Jonathan Woodgate. Woodgate made his debut and scored an own goal and got sent off within 65 minutes. In 2006 he left Madrid for beautiful Middlesbrough and was voted the worst La Liga signing of the 21st century with 37.11% of votes cast. Savage. 90. Los Blancos are, on very rare occasions, dressed up in red, and the first player to score for them in that particular colour was Angel Di Maria after the club had failed to score in 3 games when wearing the Rojo kit. 91. Finally, we have reached injury time. Players are tired, I am tired, you may or not be tired, but what I do know is that in 2007, Real Zaragoza were beating second place Madrid 2-1 with 88 minutes gone. First place Barca were winning 2-1 against Espanyol, and in just 17 seconds, the ties changed and Ruud van Nistelrooy equalised for Real Madrid and Raul Temudo levelled for Espanyol at Barcelona, handing the title to Real Madrid with 1 game left. And there you have it, 91 facts about Real Madrid. If you enjoyed what you saw with your eyeballs and heard with your ear holes, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more 90+1 facts.